Hello again. Welcome. Hello, English language learners. We're here to practice English. We're here to practice English. We want to speak English. Now, there's been a few times now we've used or football or sports and football has sort of come up. But at the moment, that's just, I don't know, it seems football's on the back page and the front page. So we seem to be having football related stories everywhere. So I've decided why not have a look at some of the I guess the news with football and what people and different I guess media outlets what they're saying in terms of what's happening with football and different places. And why not let's get some context, shall we? Let me just make that. Let's get some context. Now, I should actually say, sorry, I didn't say. If you want to join in, just say hello. Send me a message in the chat. We can talk. I can send you a link. In fact, hold on. Let me put this into the chat. And if you want to have a chat, you can come on through and we can chat about the topics or the topic as we explore it. So we'll see how long we go. Not sure how long we'll go, but let's see how long we go today. Now let's get some, as I say, some context, as we're talking about, I guess, football being on the front page and that sort of thing. So let's have a look. Now this is a story from the BBC. This is from about a week ago, give or take. And this was just before the World Cup final. And so the headline, actually, let me make that bigger. There we go. So the headline is Women's World Cup 2023 FIFA President on Battle for Equality. Okay, so this is, I guess it's interesting when you have any sort of organization. I think it's interesting. Do you think it's interesting? Let me know. I think it's interesting to see if the people who are at the top of the organization in particular, if they're managers, if they're people in charge, or if they're leaders. So I guess we can make a consideration, see if this is, if we can get some inspiration here from the president of FIFA, so the international global organization for football, and see if we can get some inspiration, in this case, about the battle for equality. Now, let's see. Now, let me see if this, okay, here we go. Hopefully the sound will work here. Let's see how we go.
I say to all the women, and I have 4 daughters, so I have a few at home.
It's interesting when people give that context, isn't it? We had that in Australia with the Prime Minister once, one of the older Prime Ministers, giving context for being able to understand the situation because they have children or they have a daughter, and so they have an understanding. And I guess we can ask questions. Again, this is a way we can explore English when we listen to things, when we hear things, when we read things. We can ask questions and debate different ideas and different interpretations. But let's continue with this.
And I have 4 daughters, so I have a few at home. I say to all the women that you have the power to change.
Power to change. You have the power to change. Applause. Oh, incredible applause.
Pick the right battles.
Pick the
right fights. You have the power to change. You have the power to convince us men what we have to do and what we don't have to do. You do it. Just do it.
Do it. Just do it.
With me, with FIFA, you will find
FIFA.
open doors.
Open doors.
Just push the doors.
Push the doors.
They are open. And do it also at national level, in every country, at continental level, in every confederation. Just keep pushing.
Keep pushing.
The momentum.
Keep momentum.
Keep dreaming.
Dreaming.
And let's really go for a full equality, not just equal pay in the World Cup, which is the slogan that comes up every now and then. Equal pay in the World Cup.
Yes.
We are going in that direction already. But that would not solve anything. It might be a symbol, but it will not solve anything, because it's 1 month every 4 years, and it's a few players out of the thousands and thousands of players. We need to keep the momentum. We need to push it. We need to go for equality, but we have to do it for real. And you, here in this room, all the women in this room, you have the power to do it.
You have the power.
So believe in it. Thank you very much.
You have the power. Okay. Okay. That, well, I guess we could ask the question again, if we're asking questions and when we're practicing, is that an example of leadership? Is that leading from the front there? Is that guiding the rest of the people along the path to what they need to do? I guess that's one question to think about. So if we go to the situation now, because he was talking there not just globally, let's go to the specific federations. And in this case, we'll go to the Spanish Football Association. Now, this link that I'm using, this is from the Guardian Guardian newspaper from Great Britain. So let's have a listen to. It's in Spanish, but there are some subtitles, so we can read the subtitles with this.
Para que pidan mi dimisión. ¿Es tan grave como para que yo me vaya habiendo hecho la mejor gestión de la historia del fútbol español? ¿Ustedes creen que tengo que dimitir? Pues les voy a decir algo. No voy a dimitir. No voy a dimitir. No voy a dimitir. No voy a dimitir.
Yes. It's interesting when watching because I've covered over some of the subtitles there, but let's have a look at that again. Let's have a look at who's giving the applause here, because there's a lot of cheers here, because we can see the title anyway. I will not resign.
Para que pidan mi dimisión. ¿Es tan grave como para que yo me vaya habiendo hecho la mejor gestión de la historia del fútbol español? ¿Ustedes creen que tengo que dimitir? Pues les voy a decir algo. No voy a dimitir. No voy a dimitir. No voy a dimitir.
So we got some people applauding here. This is the leadership, I suppose, that maybe we're talking about. So we just saw the president for FIFA. So was that an example of leadership, or maybe this is an example here of leadership? And we've got some people here, males and females. Lots of males in this audience, but anyway, lots of applause there. Who else is applauding? Okay, so we've got the winning manager. Oops, sorry, I'm showing the wrong thing. Hold on, let me go over here. So we've got the winning manager is also doing the applause as well. So he's happy with that leadership. So that's fantastic. All right. So that is the leadership. And this is, again, when we're practicing English, we can consider different things. You know, what are the fundamentals of leadership? How do you show leadership? What is a good leader? And that sort of thing. These are good things to ask and to consider. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? What do you think is a good leader? Is it different, a good leader in terms of a business in sport, a sporting leader, you know, leaders in different industry. Are they different, or are they different qualities? If we're talking broadly, of course, every industry is going to have different specialities in terms of the actual practice within that industry. But it's interesting. So he's not going to resign. This is the translation that's come through. So this is interesting. Now, of course, this guy. If we go over here. So here, this is the CNN website. So Spain's head coach appears to touch female staffer inappropriately during game celebration. Again, lots of interesting vocabulary, and again, we can always choose which vocabulary we choose to focus on if we want to remember, and we can add that to our vocabulary list. I guess this is the screenshot, and so you got the caption here. So Spain coach is seen inappropriately touching woman staffer during Women's World Cup final on Sunday. CNN has blurred the woman's face to protect her identity. So video has emerged that shows Spain head coach appearing to inappropriately touch a female staff member during the Women's World Cup final between Spain and England. So a moment after Spain's Olga Carmona scored the only goal of the game, giving La Roja the lead against England, the footage shows the coach in a celebration embracing members of his staff, including a female staff member. When Vilda, the coach, touches her, he first has his left arm on her shoulder in a hug. Then, as he turns his head away from the group embrace, his left hand drops down to her chest, keeps it there for a moment, then lets go. So we go down to this next paragraph here. Despite Spain's World Cup success, the tenure, so the time that he's been the coach, the tenure as head coach, he was appointed in 2015, has been hugely controversial. So the video clip comes against a backdrop of unrest between Spain's players, the coach and his coaching staff, and the Football Association, which led to 12 of Spain's biggest stars missing the World Cup. This is interesting. So interesting stories. So in September 2022, 15 members of Spain's senior women's squad sent personally signed letters to the Football Association via email to announce they would no longer play for the national team unless there were wholesale changes made throughout the coaching staff. But the Football Association backed the coach, and all but three, it's a nice expression here, all but three, means all of the people except for three, nice little combination there. All but three of the 15 players who sent letters missed out on Spain's triumphant World Cup campaign. So separately, the president of that football association admitted he made a mistake by giving star Jennifer Hermoso an unwanted kiss on the lips after the 33-year-old received her gold medal following the win. Interesting. There's the kiss there. So that's interesting. While in a moment of elation, without any intention of bad faith, well, what happened, happened. What happened, happened. So I guess that's it. Nothing to resign for. Nothing to resign for. So again, we can look at some of the vocabulary and consider what what is worth using and keeping as vocabulary when you're considering like your opinions, how you're going to express your opinions. You can consider, I guess, what information to include and to present as part of what to support your argument, what to exclude, what information you want to repeat or reiterate, what parts you want to exclude as well, or only say once, and that sort of thing. So interesting pieces there. So then if we go across again, now this time we'll go back to the BBC. Now this time okay, so if we go Jenny Hermoso, this is the female football player who he kissed, did not consent to the kiss. But let me just go back. So let's have a look at let's come here again. Let's just listen to the president of the FA of Spain.
No voy a dimitir. Y en el momento en el que apareció Jenny, ella me levantó a mí del suelo, me cogió pues, por las caderas, por las piernas, no recuerdo bien, me levantó del suelo, que casi nos caemos, y al dejarme en el suelo, nos abrazamos. Ella fue la que me subió en brazos y me acercó a su cuerpo. Nos abrazamos y yo le dije, olvídate del penalti. Ha estado fantástica y sin ti no hubiéramos ganado este mundial. Ella me contestó, eres un crack. Y yo le dije, ¿un piquito? Y ella me dijo, vale. Por lo tanto, no hay deseo y no hay posición de dominio. Y además, eso toda la gente lo comprende también. Aunque se esté vendiendo otra cosa en muchos de los medios, tanto los que están dominados o rindiendo pleitesía al señor Tebas, como los que están rindiendo pleitesía al falso feminismo, que es una gran lacra en este país.
Scourge of the country. Nobody's trying to make justice here. Okay, or like interesting perspective here. So this is the president of the Spanish FA, and again we can look at opinion and what we would want to say. So he's saying she said yes, but I wonder how often it is. Again, we go back to the question here. Examples of leadership. He said, I don't know if I'm not sure if I've been in any workplaces where it would be normal for the top person in the company or organization to kiss another employee on the lips when they want something. I know like in Spain and other countries they have tradition of kissing like on the cheeks and stuff, but this seems a little bit much. But again, let's go back. So Jenny Hermoso says she did not consent to be kissed by Spanish Football Federation president. As 81 players confirmed they will not play for Spain's women's team until he's removed from his post. It's I guess it's interesting there weren't more players who said they would refuse to play for the team a year ago. So obviously some people were willing to play for the team in spite of whatever was happening before. Obviously whatever was happening before wasn't big enough, wasn't strong enough, but this is strong enough. I wonder if the difference is because this is in public, it's easier to show, whereas if it's in private, it's more difficult to show. Behind closed doors, you don't see things. A nice expression, behind closed doors. So where people can't see, things happen behind closed doors. Or the discussion took place behind closed doors. So it's interesting. What they're saying. Okay, so So I guess you have to make the decision. You know, can we participate or not? But here, I guess it's more obvious, more public. So the president of the Football Federation refused to resign after kissing forward Hermoso on the lips following Spain's World Cup final win. The Spanish government started legal proceedings seeking to suspend the 46-year-old. So this is, again, it's a good example of if you don't want to keep saying the same thing, here instead of saying the Football Federation president, or you don't want to say the name, in this case, we've just given the age of the person. And from the context, we understand. So seeking to suspend the 46-year-old, while FIFA has also launched disciplinary proceedings. But it's interesting they've launched the disciplinary proceeding. I got the impression before that maybe they started the disciplinary proceedings because the women had pushed the door open. Because I don't know, when I hear something like that, I get the impression that the men at FIFA are not able to understand, you know, what's happening. You know, they're not understanding maybe what the women players are seeking, or what the right thing to do is, and that sort of thing. And so they needed to push, you know, to give to let people know. You know, so let's have a look
again.
To
all the women, and let's really go for a full equality, not just equal pay in the World Cup, which is the slogan that comes up every now and then. Equal pay in the World Cup, we are going in that direction already.
Yes.
But that would not solve anything. It might be a symbol, but it will not solve anything because it's 1 month every 4 years, and it's a few players out of the thousands and thousands of players. We need to keep the momentum. We need to push it. We need to go for equality, but we have to do it for real. And you here in this room, all the women in this room, you have the power to do it. So believe in it. Thank you very much.
Okay, so the women have the power, and maybe they've had the power and they've told FIFA, investigate this. Maybe they've told the government, do an investigation, and take care of some proceedings to take appropriate action. And of course, they've done their statement. Okay, and let's move across to where are we? Here we go. Okay, so we're at this is from Deutsche Welle, and again, it's what's a very good thing is if you're practicing English from different countries and you're learning from different countries, and probably you're doing this already, but it's always a good thing to have a look at if there are any sort of local websites or publications that are already publishing things or releasing things in English, either written or spoken, that can be very useful as well. Some places like BBC, Deutsche Welle, and other places, you can look at things on YouTube, apart from just the website. So there's access to lots of different materials. But it's a good opportunity to look at perhaps local issues and other issues and see how they're presented. And then you can also compare it, perhaps reasonably quickly, to a local story in your local language, just to compare the way it's presented and maybe some of the language as well. If there are some things that are not understood, it can give you some more context. So the story here is women's football team won't play until boss is ousted. Ousted. This is a great. I'm gonna add this to the list. Ousted. Ousted. So to be ousted. And so when someone is ousted, they're removed from something, they're taken out from something. And to be ousted, of course, we know from the structure. We can see from the structure. When you're ousted, this is passive. So someone is doing it, say, he's not going, he's not resigning, so he has to be taken out. So again, so interesting here, we're using the word boss. Again, we can look at different words. So let's go back to here. So we can, I guess, compare. Let's put that up here. So we can have, say, for example, manager versus boss, boss versus leader. I guess we can say, what are there different qualities? Are they the same? Is it effectively the same if someone is a boss or a manager or a leader? Maybe they're the same, maybe they're different. And I think a leader is very different from a boss and a manager. I don't think you need to be a boss or a manager to be a leader. In my humble opinion, let's get that there. That's a nice acronym. AMHO. In my humble opinion, you might see this if you look at forums and that sort of thing, or people writing on different news pages online. Sometimes you'll see people writing and they're using different abbreviations, acronyms, because they don't want to type out the whole thing. So IMHO, and another one I think that's fairly common these days is AFAIK. So as far as I know, and then you continue the sentence. So as far as I know, the meeting is on Tuesday. So you don't want to write all that. AFAIK, the meeting's on Tuesday, and that sort of thing. So nice acronyms there. But let's get back to the story. So until the boss is ousted, nice use of the passive here. So dozens. So multiples of 12. Dozens of Spanish players have signed an open letter in solidarity with Jenny Hermoso, who was kissed by the head. It's on the head and by the head. By the head. So the head, the boss, the president, in this case. So I guess all synonyms in this example of Spain's Football Federation after the team's victory at the Women's World Cup. So there's the celebrations last week. I don't know, and with this as well, because all of this we're talking about is about the president and the coach, and I said we're going to let's add this word, to distract. Do you feel this distracts or detract, to take away from? Do you think this distracts or detracts away from the victory? So instead of talking about the goals, the play, the stadium, the atmosphere, all of the football-y sort of stuff, we're talking about these sorts of things. We're talking about a kiss. We're talking about a group. We're talking about if people are resigning, if people are showing leadership, and that sort of thing, rather than the actual quality. I think that would be disappointing, isn't it? This is disappointing. So the entirety, nice word, the entirety, that's all of them. You could say the whole Spanish women's football team, but the entirety of the Spanish women's football team and dozens of other players said on Friday they would no longer represent their country until the president of the Football Federation is removed as head of the National Football Federation. So I guess this is what the FIFA president was talking about. They're pushing the doors here. This is a big push, isn't it? They're pushing the doors. Seems like the Spanish government are pushing the doors. My understanding is there's lots of talk in Spain as well about these actions. That's more pushing of the doors. So these doors are very well open, aren't they? They're incredibly open. It's almost as if the doors have been taken off the hinges. That's something like that. To take the doors off the hinges. Now, this is not necessarily a common expression. This is a note. I like the fact of the hinges. The hinges, the thing that attaches the doors to the. I think that's called a jamb, but that's not a common word at all. But like basically the side of the wall where you attach the door. So that's where the hinge. But you have hinges on lots of things. Anything, I guess, that you can move and bend where there's two separate things that's attached. You're using a hinge more often than not. Not sure of all the time, but more often than not, you're using a hinge. It allows for flexibility without destroying the product. If you get like plastic, for example, and you go like that, the plastic is eventually going to wear, of course, to wear or to wear out. So you wear out something, to wear out something. Not to wheat out, to wear out. So you wear it out. And say you've got those two bits of plastic, you put a hinge in the middle, you can keep going like that for significantly longer. So anyway, that's why you have hinges on the door, I guess, and other things. Anyway, okay, so let's get back. So the president was widely condemned after. So again, it's a nice use of passive again here. So widely condemned. So not just condemned, widely condemned. So lots of people have been doing it. Now it doesn't. I don't think it says here. No, it doesn't say who is doing the condemning and saying this is not a good thing, saying this is bad. Not saying who's doing, but I guess we can assume, which is, I guess, one of the reasons why the passive is used. You could say lots of people condemned the president. In this case, passive, the president was widely condemned in Spain after he kissed star player Jenny Hermoso on the lips without her consent last Sunday. In the days that followed, oh, that's a wonderful expression. That's fantastic. Now, there, if you want to write a piece and you want to use something else, like in the next few days or the days after that, or something like that, this is a nice alternative. And again, this is a good thing about when you're reading different things. In this case, we're reading newspaper articles, but if you're reading journals or books, novels, magazines, whatever, it's a very good thing to find different pieces of English, particularly things like introductions or endings, where they're using passive constructions for like the formula of a sentence, and just change the information for whatever is appropriate for what you want to say. But it's good to find alternatives. So you make a note or you put it on a sheet somewhere so you can access it, remembering that whenever you have these notes, you should always prioritize. Try to continually prioritize so you know and remember what's important. So the next day when you're going, okay, I'm going to be practicing English today, you've got those top 3, 4, or 5 words or expression that you're going to try and practice throughout the day. And that it's easily sending you on your way. Because again, we don't want to distract ourselves by having tens, hundreds even of words that we're trying to learn and practice in one go. So if we have a small amount, but a large volume of usage for those. What's that expression? Inch wide, mile deep, or something along those lines. Yeah, so you only want a small amount, but you want to try and utilize them as much as possible. Okay, so in the days that followed, he rejected repeated calls to step down and defended. Oh, this is nice thing. So to step down, I'm just backtracking a little bit. To step down is to resign. If you're not aware. To step down, to resign. Again, a good alternative. To reject, this is what we saw before, where he said, I will not resign. There's rejecting the calls. The calls in this case is for people say, you should resign. Or people going, the president should resign. And so on. So those are the calls, as opposed to, say, for example, a phone call and that sort of thing. So it's a different type of call, different definition. So to step down, to resign, and defended his kiss as a mutual, euphoric, and consensual. Okay. But Hermoso denied this in a letter signed by 56 female Spanish football players on Friday. I wonder in this sort of a case, again, this is when you can use different conditionals, and when you're talking about, when you're discussing things. And in this case, you could say something like, I wonder if the male football players, if the male Spanish football team also supported this, would that be a good thing or a bad thing? It's a good thing, I would imagine, because it's showing the solidarity, the togetherness, the support for the female players. But then I guess if that takes away from the pushing of the doors that's happening at the moment. So I'm not sure. I guess there could be an argument or a thought. What should we do? Should we say something or not say something in this particular situation? Because I guess you don't want to detract from the situation. You don't want to say, it was because the male team also supported it that he resigned or something like that. That's okay. So continuing, I want to clarify that just as the images suggest, at no point did I consent to the kiss he gave me. I have to say the explanation that we heard in the video of what happened, it seemed like a long explanation for what seemed to just be happening pretty quickly. It seemed like there were a lot of steps in there, but I don't know, who knows, but things can happen quickly. So anyway, she said in the statement, I do not tolerate that my word be questioned, she said, rejecting any statements that had been attributed to her in his speech. Okay. This, I guess, is the, what are we calling these now? I heard someone say the X, formerly known as Twitter, instead of calling them tweets, people are calling them X's. I'm not sure if that's, are people doing that? Like in a broad way, or is it just like a few people? I wonder if people can keep saying tweets, I'm tweeting, even if the actual reason why they're saying tweet is gone. Then again, I wonder, because say, for example, people would, if we go back a little bit, people would say, I'm going to Xerox something, even if they don't use a Xerox machine, or I'm going to Hoover something, even if their vacuum wasn't a Hoover, and so on. Even like when we say Google, when we say just Google it, Google something, Google the information. I guess even though Google is the main search engine, I guess, that most people use, even if people use Bing, I don't know if I've never heard anyone say I'm gonna Bing it, but it's common to hear I'm gonna Google it. So that's one thing. Anyway, so I guess this is the X, the tweets or whatever. Nice touch with the pen in the image there. This is a list of the players. So we have, and I like this as well. They've on the signature sheet, I guess, it's not just listed as the players, it's listed as champions of the world champions, both. So that's nice touch. And then it has the other people supporting. All right, so let's do a little bit. We'll do a little bit more, and then I have to go pretty soon. So she and the other signatories, it's a nice word. So the other people who signed the document or the letter, whatever it is. So the other signatories said they would not return to the team unless the federation leadership is removed. So I wonder. So here we've got leadership. I was wondering when this word was going to come up. So here we have the leadership. So I wonder if this is, I would use the word federation management. But I know if you look up the definition of leader, actually, let's do that. If we look up the definition of leader, I'm pretty sure it says like someone who's like in a controlling role or something. But I think leadership is more than that. Let's have a look. So here we go. So this is from Oxford, I think it is. So leader, and the first definition, the person who leads or commands a group, organization, or country. So it's interesting that they use two verbs. See, they're using two verbs here. So a person who leads or commands. So I think in a lot of the examples of leaders and leadership, they're the people who command. So when a lot of people go, when they're going to speak to their boss, they say, I'll speak to my leader or the leader of the team or whatever, where it may really be like the supervisor or manager. So the commander, if you like, of the team. And I think this is the use and an unfortunate definition, because I think it takes away from I can't say real definition, because when the vocabulary expands and the definitions of a language expands, but I always question. So how many people lead? How many people command of the people who are leaders? And then we'll see. More definition. Look at the use of leadership or leader. And it's a very common word to be used. Anyway, let's go back, shall we? Okay, so unless the federation leadership is removed, we want to express that all the players signing this letter will not come back to play for the national team if the current leaders are in place. So if I was going, I would say commanders, managers, administrators, those sorts of things. So Spain's governing sports body, we've got the subtitle here, so the president facing possible suspension. Spain's governing sports body, the CSD, said on Friday it will request the suspension of the manager. Repeating again, these sorts of things, particularly when you get these articles like this where almost every sentence is a paragraph, they can be good things to practice your pronunciation and the modality when you're speaking, and changing the inflection, the tone, the way that you're speaking, where you're putting the pauses in, because you can choose. It's your delivery. You can choose how you want to present that information. So Victor Frankos, who is the president, nice relative clause there, information. So Victor Frankos said the government, but more information about it, because we'll go, otherwise, if we said Victor Frankos said, we go, who's Victor? But we know he's the president of the CSD and the country's sports minister. Said the government would initiate proceedings to require the president to explain himself before a tribunal as soon as possible. Now, as soon as I see this, I would ask myself again, I'll come back here. Would that investigation be behind closed doors? Would people be able to see it? Would it be televised? So that people could see in real time what was happening. I think in Spain that would get a lot of viewers. Anyway, so the president would then be suspended if, so again, that's nice conditionals here. So he would be suspended if the administrative court finds that the controversial kiss, which Hermosa said was unwanted, violated the country's sports code. The sports code. Right. I wonder what the sports code says about kissing or interactions. And then I guess we could talk about other people that we've seen earlier in terms of what could violate a country's sports code. I assume there weren't any violations of the sports code before, which is why the coach was able to continue. Or maybe the door wasn't pushed hard enough because they had less people signing or sending the email last year compared to this email or X tweet. I think we can say this is the Me Too of Spanish football. Well, maybe it could be the potential start. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Maybe it's the potential start because there would need to be a lot more. And I wonder if there would be more revelations in the coming weeks, months, and years about this. And people who have not said much, I wonder if they would say more. So Francos told journalists just hours after the president announced he would not step down. We saw that video before, part of it. There has to be a change. The government wants to warn, to be very clear, and say that there are things that can't happen again, he added. I wonder how many things can't happen again. Anyway, so lots of interesting vocabulary, lots of points, some points of view, I guess. There's a few different angles. We've heard from what the president said in their press conference. We heard what the FIFA president said about pushing the door open and taking the opportunity so that the men could understand, because by inference, I suppose that the men cannot understand without being told. So interesting. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, say hello if you're here for English language conversation practice, or you want to practice speaking. Send me a message, write an email, write a comment, and hopefully we can do something soon. It'll be fantastic to have more people feeling motivated, encouraged to speak English, and feeling more confident. It's not about perfection. It's not about not making mistakes, but it's about being more confident, feeling better than you did yesterday about English, and hopefully producing better English than you were using yesterday. So every day a little bit better, and practicing every day, and contributing every day to your own development. I personally think it's really, really important for people to have a very strong investment in their progress. People need to think about what am I learning? Why am I learning this? What do I want to achieve? What's important for me to learn? Why am I learning English? Obviously that's the first question. Why am I learning? What are the things I want to do? If you don't know, make a list. Have a think for a while. What are the activities, the actions you want to do? The more specific you can be, the better. If you want to say, okay, I want to be able to speak with people from other countries, okay, but the more specific you can get, the more you can focus on doing those actual tasks practicing those tasks, looking for the vocabulary, the grammar, making the impression that's necessary for those particular situations. So if you know what you want to do, and the more instances, as I say, the more instances you can think of, even better. You can make that list. Tell me what you would like to learn. Make a note in the comments. Write down what you'd like to learn, and maybe there's a way to do it. If it's too broad, it's like you go into a restaurant and say, "Oh, give me some food. I'd like to have some food. I'm hungry." So maybe you can get something and it can fill you up. You've got the food, so you can say, "I want to learn English." We can always give you some words, give you some grammar, whatever, and say, "Oh, okay, well, I've learned some English today," but how useful was it for you? How good was that for you to learn that vocabulary, those words? That's why I say, when you have your vocabulary list, keep organizing it, keep prioritizing it, so that when you're focusing on 3, 4, 5 words a day, what you're going to practice throughout those days, then you're actually learning things that you want to learn. You decide the reason for the priority. Maybe you have a meeting or an event coming up. Maybe there's a presentation. Maybe you just think that's a good word. Maybe you think that's a word that's very common. You hear it a lot and you want to be able to use it a lot. It's a very frequent word. So lots of different reasons, but you make your own priority. You make that decision. But you keep that momentum. You keep invested in your learning. You take that responsibility, and you can get teachers, tutors, other people around you to help you. But it's a personal responsibility, I think. What do you think? Okay, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. We hope to see you again very soon. Thank you for subscribing, watching. Catch you next time. Have a great rest of the day, beginning of the day. Maybe it is for you. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.